What's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Action Jackson, man. And I'm going to be going over you guys with the two free agent sightings that the Cowboys have signed outside of their own. So yeah, man, we're just gonna hop into the video, man. So the two players that we signed today, they're both first the finally free agents that we had signed outside of our own. There was a stat that came out today. There was 31 out of 32 teams who signed everyone out of their own organization, and the only team who didn't was, of course, us, the Dallas Cowboys, because that's just how we roll. But so our first free agent signing ended up being James Washington. We ended up signing him to a year deal. I don't know the exact details. I don't know how, like, 3-4 million. I'm not exactly sure on how much Washington or Dante Fowler is getting. So we signed James Washington for a year deal. This is a really, really solid move. This is the first time that James Washington is finally having a solid quarterback in his career. He ended up being the guy, the third or fourth, not really the third, but he ended up being like the fourth, fifth string guy, because once Pittsburgh found out what they got in Claypool, then they already had invested in like Juju Smith, and then they had Deontay Johnson. So those were their three wide receivers that they liked over James Washington, and he just ended up weeding out. And Pittsburgh, they're historically known as like having really great receivers. So with them losing one is really nothing, because they have a great developmental system over there. So them losing James Washington isn't really going to hurt them, because they're going to end up either signing another wide receiver or drafting a receiver and making him really nice. So it doesn't really matter for Pittsburgh. So right now, of course, I'm just going to go over James Washington. Then I'm going to go over Dante Fowler separately. So with James Washington, it adds to our wide receiver depth. Because right now, I'm not going to count Michael Gallup. I know we gave him that 5-year extension, but I just know he's not going to be able to start about the first 2 months of the season. Like I said, even with modern medicine, Michael Gallup tore his ACL in late December, so he won't be back until October, November. So that's like the earliest we can probably see him coming back to the Cowboys. If they end up rushing him back week 1, it's going to be really horrible on the Cowboys' end, and it's going to be bad for Michael Gallup's career. So I really hope they don't take that route and try to force him back in. So signing James Washington, I don't know what else Dallas is going to do at the wide receiver position. So right now, what the wide receiver room looks like is CeeDee Lamb, Simi Fehoko, and James Washington. Those are your three receivers that will be able to play if we were to line up for a game right now. So I think that the Cowboys should either, what they're going to probably do with James Washington, either have him at the third receiver, and if he ends up being our third receiver, we're going to end up probably drafting a receiver with our second or third pick. So that'd be like day 2 of the draft. Or if we don't end up if we don't end up drafting a receiver, I wouldn't mind if we can pick up like a Jarvis Landry. So it's like week 1, we'll be able to roll out with like a James Washington, CeeDee Lamb, and Jarvis Landry. That's the one more offensive player that I'm hoping Dallas can sign. And then to add to our wide receiver core, because I believe that even if you go out week 1 and you get a guy in the 3rd, 4th round at the receiver spot, and you still have CeeDee Lamb, James Washington, and Jarvis Landry, plus Simi Fehoko, and then plus whatever the draft pick we end up signing, like our day 2 wide receiver, we'll just roll out with that, and I think that we'll be able to compete with those receivers. And then once Michael Gallup gets back towards the end of the year, I believe we'll be solid from an offensive standpoint. Hopefully they use the 24th pick on the offensive lineman, but knowing the Cowboys, they'll either go lineman or they'll go BPA. So if a Jordan Davis falls, or an absurd talent that they had in the top 5 of the board falls to 24, they're most likely going to end up taking a person like that, similar to how we did with CeeDee Lamb in 2020. So, that's it from the James Washington signing, man. So we're going to go over to the defensive signing, man. Second signing ended up being Dante Fowler, and that's everybody's reputable guy, having him known as a Dan Quinn guy. Dante Fowler joined the he joined the Falcons, I think the 2020 year. So, that was like Dan Quinn's last year coaching. So obviously everyone was saying this is a Dan Quinn signing. It is, but Dan Quinn has some input, but we already know that Stephen Jones runs the show, so he ended up giving him that little 1-year deal. but it's fine. It's a prove-it deal. These two signings with Washington and Dante Fowler, these aren't guys who are going to come in and replace Randy Gregory or Amari Cooper. These guys are just going to be role players, rotational pieces, both Washington and Dante Fowler. So from the standpoint of the defense, what I would like to see for more signings other than a Dante Fowler, he's just going to be your rotational. Dante Fowler is just going to be your rotational piece. And then the other three signings the other three realistic signings that I would like the Cowboys to sign is Bobby Wagner, if that's even feasible. Then I would like to sign Brent Urban and then J-Ron Curse. If we can sign those three, mainly those two, I don't know if we're going to end up getting Bobby Wagner. Hopefully we do. That's another quote-unquote Dan Quinn guy. So if we can end up getting Bobby Wagner, Brent Urban, another solid one tech, and then we add J-Ron Curse and then if we get Brent Urban, J-Ron Curse, those are going to be really cheap deals. And then if we can get Bobby Wagner on like a 2-year deal, that'd be really nice. So I mean, that's about it for the standpoint of the signings for today, man. If there's any more breaking news on the Cowboys, I'll obviously report it when I have time. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a nice night. Bye.